Yeah, my name is Professor Nabok Okonedi. I'm from the Department of Nuclear Science, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. It was my pleasure when I was first invited to present this late lecture for some reason well known to me. First, the occasion is being held at Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic, where I've once been a staff. And the second reason is I am an indigenous of Akwa Ibom State. Fortunately, around that zone, I was just presenting a little paper at Abia State chapter of the Chemical Society. Unfortunately, because of national assignment, I cannot partake in the physical being, but my spirit is with you. So, having gone through the theme of this conference, I will try to run some PowerPoint, I will try to run some slides within the next couple of minutes. I will, after the lecture, after the official hours, I will post this slide in the WhatsApp group. What do we go? Domestication of chemistry for technology and national development. What is domestication? What is technology and national development? First of all, we'll try to take the highlight on technology and national development. What are the things that makes up these terms? We will separate the terms first, then finally we will come to issues that borders on chemistry. Can chemistry really affect technology and national development? I'm talking to fellow chemists, and I know most of them are in different courses. They are in different areas of specialization. And because they are in the different area of specialization, I will try to see what your area can actually do. But the central point is that technological development and national development is pivoted in what you call industrial sector. And we will single out some industries that chemistry plays a role. And just to remind you, some of these things we are teaching students in the lecture. Then we'll see what could be our role. So in an overview, we take technology as a tool or mechanism through which advancement and efficiency are realized. Advancement, economic advancement can be realized through technology. Educational advancement can be realized through technology. Of course, the ICT, for instance, national development, a process of improving the economy, social, political, and cultural well-being of a nation. At first sight, you may think, how can I improve the political well-being? How can I improve the economy? We shall see some indices that are associated with technological and national development. It will therefore involve that's a goal where you are pursuing a goal for the application of technology to contribute to improvement of national overall betterment of the nation. So there are several facts we can go through. I say I'll run through this slide for a short while. Then we look at the growth and modernization of Nigeria, the economy, infrastructure, healthcare, education, governance. These are the things that really pay concern when we are discussing this type of issues. So, what are the rating? What are the rating? That means indices that can affect it, that can be used to see if your country is doing well in technological development. We talk about the Global Innovation Index. Issues like patent. Nigeria is one of the countries where research is not patented. Some are patented, but then commercializations of that research is not taking place. Local technology exists, but then it's not known to the world. So under here, we look at Global Innovation Index and the measures, you will measure innovation performance across countries, including research and development, patent, fillings of patent, and technology creations. So we look at Information and Communication Technology Development Index. Those are some of the indices. We look at technological achievement index. What have you achieved? That can also be measured by patent. It can also be measured by the export to import ratio. We have the research and development expenditure as a percentage of the gross domestic product. How much of our country wealth is directed to research and development? You will answer this for me. If you look at Nigerian University, apart from TED Fund, what are the other options that are funding the educational sector or the research and development? ASU has been crying every year for increased funding, and yet nothing is done. Rather, ASU sometimes we see punishment from the government, like stoppage of salary and other action. So we have the rating continued patent application per million people. Wow. I'll show you a graph to see that when you consider 1 million, so the patent application can be as low as 2 decimal fractions. So we look at this will reflect the level of innovation and technology advancement in a country. So we have the high technology export, measure the contribution of technology intensive product to a country's export. Human capital index, although broader, this index include education and skill, which are crucial for all technological development. So we look at rating indices. The rating indices could be various factors. It includes various factors, and one is gross domestic product per capita. This reflects the average economic output per person and overall economic health. We have the Human Development Index, and we have the Gini coefficient, and we have the poverty rate, which you know what it means. So we also have the GDP, the Human Development Index. I've just spoken about that. So we have some of the ratings. Sorry, I have to go back. Some of the rating that's Nigeria. Let me bring overall rating. Nigeria, we look at the rating value, the benchmark, that's for global average, and we look at some remark. You can see among all these indices, the remark for Nigeria is poor. None of them pass a good digit, except maybe Gini coefficient, income inequality. But then it's still very poor when you compare to expected global level. The only indices there is the one that is fair. All others are poor. So what does this translate to? What does this translate to? The common translation means that if I have you a research question, do we really need contributions to improve the national and economic or technological development in Nigeria? I'm sure you will answer yes. We need them. If you look at Nigerian situation, do we really need them? I'm sure you will answer yes. Nobody will say no. Nobody will say no. So now, let's look at research output for Nigeria. We look at research output through publication. Well, it's fair. And this is basically based on self-sacrifice from academics because it's a condition for promotion. Otherwise, nobody will do research. And we look at research output percentage of a global. It is very poor when you look at what is happening in other parts of the world. And we look at number of patents granted. We see that it is very poor when we look at the global value and then the benchmark set up as a global average. We look at spending on research compared to the gross domestic product. We see that it is actually poor. Now the challenge is why are we facing these problems? Even as economists, they will say poor industrialization, low export to import rate, poor management, lack of deep research, insufficient funding of the education sector, and then the low innovations. then what can chemists do? Can chemists really do anything? I'll tell you yes. And you will agree with me that it is yes. So there is let's look at different aspects of chemistry, the material science, chemistry, the contributions. It can lead to development of advanced materials such as polymers and composites, nanoparticles, which have done a lot of work, and I have some citations in that aspect. Then we have the raw materials, the polymer, the metal, and nanoparticles. We have the energy sector. Of course, you can see the energy sector is blowing very well. For instance, the solar energy, lithium is distributed in some rivers in Nigeria, and Nigeria has good deposit of lithium. So what can the lithium do? Lithium battery is the most expensive battery in the world. We have the cobalt, we have the rare earth, we have the element. I've once worked in a sunshine battery industry where lead were taken from, I think, Jos and then used for production of electrode and every other materials. That sunshine battery at Tukana was having 100% raw materials from Nigeria. It was established by the German. I did my industrial attachment in that place, and it was selling batteries to West African countries. So that's the energy sector. And apart from that, there's also the wind sector, the wind energy, but not really connected to chemistry. But when you look at the solar system, that is where we have electrochemistry. And we also have electrochemistry, the battery systems. And we come to healthcare, we look at the development of drugs, pharmaceuticals, and of course, the natural product chemists will be involved. We look at environmental protection. Chemists are needed to formulate pollution control policies, either by modeling or by experiment. We look at agriculture, and there are some innovation in fertilizer. And of course, I'm the chairman of a Nigerian standard committee for development of standards for fertilizers and agrochemicals and other agrochemicals. So we look at industrial processes. A chemist look at optimization of industrial processes. This means that a chemist will be able to tell you that by proper combination of temperature, concentration, pressure, or other conditions that are needed to give you the product, you'll be able to minimize the energy input. You'll be able to minimize cost. That's what we call process optimization. So we also see that if we look at different branches of chemistry, I've mentioned about pharmaceutical industry, and the chemist is there, the organic chemist will be there, the medicinal chemist will be there, the biochemist will be there, analytical chemist will be there, and of course the physical chemist will be there to talk about the kinetics of the drug reactions. We have the petrochemical industry, the physical chemist is there, the organic chemistry is there, petroleum being a crude organic compound, and we have the industrial chemists. And when you look at refining, you look at the chemical process involved there, you know that almost all chemists will be found there. So even the polymer chemists will be found there when you are looking at the petrochemicals, that's for production polymers and a wide range of products. And you look at the polymer industry, basically we sometimes refer to plastic, we need the materials, chemists, we need organic chemists, we need agrochemical industry, we need almost organics, but most important is organic chemists, the inorganic chemists, and then the environmental chemists. And we look at cosmetic and personal care, organic chemists, biochemistry, analytical chemists, and of course I can tell you, I as a physical chemist, I'm also relevant there because when I talk about colloid and surface chemistry, I am deeply involved. So the food and beverage industry, food chemistry, biochemistry, analytical chemistry, organic chemistry. We also have the paint and coating industry. I'll tell you I'm there because I'll talk about the rheology of the paint. I'll talk about the colloid and surface properties of the paint. And we look at the textile industry, the polymer chemists, the organic chemists, analytical chemists, and of course, personal as a physical chemist, I've done some work on the textile industry, but mostly concerned on the absorption and photodegradations of that. So we look at the fertilizer industry, we look where you have inorganic chemists. Most fertilizers are inorganic compounds. We have the environmental chemists and the analytical chemists that needs to play major roles in those industries. The cleansing product, detergent, you see the surfactant chemists, which environmental chemists, organic chemists, biotechnology industry. Why do we need? We need a biochemist. We need a molecular chemist. We need organic chemists, and of course, We model by ways of docking, molecular docking to the biotechnology sectors. And we have the environmental management, environmental chemists, analytical chemists, inorganic chemists. And of course, when you want to talk about the kinetics or the thermodynamics of the process, you will also involve a physical chemist. I must promote my specialization. Very sorry for this. So, but the mining and metallurgical, of course, you need a physical chemistry, a chemist there. You need an analytical chemist there. A lot of process taking there. The flotation that will be taking place in this sector. Chemists dominate metallurgical and mining industries. We have the geologists. Once the geologists bring it out from the ground, the other process, I can assure you, is basically chemistry that will reigns. Are you talking about the flotation process? Are you talking about the purification process by electrolysis? Are you talking about the purification process by blast furnace method? It all talks about chemical reaction. Then what about that remaining process? I don't want to mention all. But if I may come to a summary, I will give you pharmaceutical industries that development of chemistry will contribute to the development of new drugs and medicinal technology. Chemistry will also contribute to innovation in industry. And of course, when you look at the national development, how would this contribute to national development? It will improve the healthcare and life expectancy. Remember, when I started this lecture, I speak about good healthcare as one of the indices for national and technological development. So, and the pharmaceutical industry will also develop economic growth through a strong pharmaceutical sector. I show you one funny thing happening in Nigeria, that most of the drugs we use are imported. But then we have the raw materials. The drugs can come from plants, it can come from some rocks. We have all the raw materials it takes. So chemists should actually awake to see how to harness this. But certainly, I won't blame chemists so much, but I'll blame the system we have, because so many works have been done on the theoretical and publication basis, but it has not never been translated. So we look at the petrochemical industry. Of course, what are there. What can we see? Are you talking about the distillation, fractional distillation? Are you talking about the cracking? Are you talking about the reforming? Are you talking about the petrochemical industry? Chemistry has a significant role to play. The Nigerian petrochemical industry was bought over by, certain part was bought over by Indorama. They produce fertilizer from there, and they produce urea there. So you cannot produce urea, you cannot produce fertilizer without a chemist involved. So this will certainly include, of course, employment status, you cannot roll it out. Economic development, you cannot roll it out. The technological development, you cannot roll it out. If we are allowed to do research in that sector, I think a lot can be done. So the polymer industry, I've already said, it has a lot of connection there, but then most polymers are exported. I have not mentioned nano industry, which has a great potential for modern economy. And then agrochemical industry, you have the pesticide, for instance, the herbicides and the fertilizers, and they actually will increase the agricultural production. When agricultural productivity increase, you expect the health status of people to increase. So we can also mention cosmetic and personal cares, and you will see, these are chemical formulations. We talk about colloid, we talk about oil in water, water in oil, and just like you have your paints and coating industry, you can have oil in water paint, you can have water in oil paint. It's a chemist that will be able to bring the formulations together. It's a chemist that will be able to choose the emotional stability. It will be able to effect or enhance the emotional stability of paint or even cosmetic products. So how do we mix water and oil together? Whereas we know in chemical theory, we cannot mix them together. We bring emulsifying agent in between so that it will dissolve the oil, it will dissolve the water. And what we see? We see the two as looking homogeneous. So you can see the wonderful role the chemist plays in the cosmetic industry and the paint industry. Is it the food industries? where we are mixing a lot of ingredients. So maybe let's take, for instance, we are talking about cocoa that is used for most beverages. What do? We mix them together and we are able to see a uniform or homogeneous appearance. This, well, I used to see in my early days where we used to write in my lecturers that say wherever there's chemical reaction, a chemist is there. And I think that adage is still standing firm. So we have the textile industry. Are you talking about the dyes that we use in the textile industries? Are you talking about the reactions of the dye, whether the dye is reactive, whether the dye is azo dye, or what type of dyes are we talking about that it is adequately covered by chemistry? Are you talking about the conversion process of converting materials to textile or fabrics? What of the fertilizer company have actually mentioned, or the cleaning product, that's the detergent, such as the detergent, the soap? Are you talking of the soap technology where you need to use oil? You can convert palm oil, you can convert any oil to quality soap. Are you talking about that? Are you talking about the various process that is taking place there? That shows overwhelming roles of chemists in that company. And you look at biotechnology industry, I've mentioned that. Are you talking about environmental management? How we are able to control pollution or contaminant? One effect that is happening is that people get discouraged when environment is grossly contaminated. Modern technologies have designed ways that we can eliminate waste completely. For instance, if it's a liquid waste, we can carry out what we call photocatalyzed degradation, and we will get the product vanished. Adsorption will separate the contaminant from the water, but then how do you discard the separated contaminant? You still have to look for a way to discharge it, which will be environment. When you talk of some modern advanced technology like photo degradation or femto oxidation, you actually cannot do without a chemist. The mining industry I've already mentioned. So now, if we have seen that chemistry can play a role, we have seen the indices for national and technological development. We've seen that Nigeria is lacking behind, and we've seen that chemistry has a significant role to play. What can we do? The answer is the chemistry must be properly domesticated. And what is domestication? If you look at it in the simple term, you say adaptation. When you adopt and apply chemical knowledge and technologies to meet local needs, you meet your resources and you meet the conditions within Nigeria. You apply chemical knowledge. You apply chemical knowledge to actually see if you can produce raw materials. Now I look at a particular company like cement factory. We have the coke needed to power the tower. We have the limestone needed to produce the cement. We also have every other raw materials needed there. Why do we need to import other products there? If chemistry is properly domesticated, we don't need this sector with this kind of conditions or factors interfering in our finance. Okay, now let's look at the national problem that is making people groan all over the country. Petrol, diesel, kerosene. We have the crude oil. We have the iron and steel industry defunct. We have a lot of chemists. If chemistry is properly domesticated, crude oil will be refined in Nigeria, not Nigerian crude oil taken to other countries, brought back and sold to Nigeria at even great exorbitant price. So now, you can see one sector is affecting the entire nation. Once there was an increase in the cost of, once the importation of, once the subsidy was removed, the entire country is in an economic crisis now. So you can see if chemistry is properly domesticated, the entire country will be at rest. Let us think as chemists, what can we do? At pilot level, what can we do? Even if the government is trying to discourage people from some pilot petroleum refinery system, I think if we have good systems, we can do it at university level, pilot refining, and prove that the product is even better than what they are doing. So just we have, if we can domesticate chemistry, what are the benefits? I've already spoken about economic growth and development. Spoken about improvement in healthcare. I've spoken about agricultural development. I've spoken about environmental sustainability. I will also mention education and research. I will also mention infrastructure and industrial development. And I will mention economic diversification. I'll mention cultural and social impact. And I'll mention innovation and technology transfer, among others. So we look at what can we say? What can I tell my colleagues, my respected brothers and sisters? What can I say? I would rather bring you towards the end of this lecture by putting the scripture across to you. Awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give you this light. We need this light to follow up national and technological development of our country. Are you sleeping? Are you walking? Are you crawling? Start to run. Start to fly so that you can bring solution to the nation. So in conclusion, as academicians, as fellow academicians, I think some of these points need to be highlighted. Do you teach effectively? Are you mentoring anybody? The contribution of teaching and effective teaching and mentoring is very significant in national development. What you cannot do, you can teach a child who can do better than you. Just like Christ said, the things I do, you will do even greater things. So mentoring and teaching enables a mentee and the mentor to benefit, have a mutual benefit. There are many inventions that occur from students of renowned scientists in the past. There are things we cannot see, but the child will see. So we should embark on effective teaching and mentoring. So we should give attention to industrial experience. How do we do this? Please have a good partnership with industries. And if we have a good partnership with industry, our knowledge is transformed to experimental level. And we can have what we call pilot plan, pilot experimental scales. That's industrial scaling. We have the scalability of the product will be okay. So your research should be productive and publication in impact factor, or at least in depth and abstracted journals. So we have a commercialization of technology is necessary. We have the raw materials development, what of grant writing, not only restricted to institutional based research, not only restricted to TED fund, seek for international grant and compete. Then there should be consistency in the chemical professions. How many of us are active chemists? How many of us are members of chemical society? How many of us are coming here to present paper? Some we are presenting papers because we want promotion. This kind of system should be discouraged. And if I look at it closely. Having this opportunity to talk to my brothers, to talk to my colleagues, even talk to my senior. I've seen one of the professors there, the female professor receiving an award. Mr. Professor Ina was my lecturer in the University of Uyo. I must show my appreciation. If the organizer of this conference have no way of publishing this book of abstract or proceedings, I think I will offer to give that. And should that be the case, let it be discussed with me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you very much.